was 16 years old, in my junior year of high school. My school was massive, 3 full floors, and even that wasn't enough to fit all the classes. Because of that, the school had built 2 classrooms in the basement. Those classrooms were originally janitorial storage areas, later remodeled to look like normal hallways. But no matter how much they tried to fix them up, the basement always felt wrong. There were no intercoms or loudspeakers down there. That meant no morning announcements, no emergency alerts, nothing. Because of that, no classes were ever scheduled down there during first period. Students called that part of the basement the chamber. It was quiet, too quiet. On this particular day, my 5th period was lunch, and right after that I had astronomy class held in one of those basement classrooms. We had a quiz that day. Astronomy was easy for me, so I finished early. Out of boredom, I texted my friend JJ, who was in the other basement classroom, and told him to meet me in the basement bathroom. A few seconds later, JJ walked in. We joked around, killing time, when JJ suddenly checked his phone. His smile disappeared. "Someone just texted me," he said. "The school is on lockdown." We looked at each other and grinned. Neither of our teachers had seen us leave. Since there were no speakers in the basement, we hadn't heard any announcement. That meant we technically had free movement while the rest of the school was locked down. Against better judgment, we decided to sneak upstairs just to see what was going on. When we opened the basement door to the main floor, the mood instantly changed. The hallways were completely dark. All the lights were off. That was strange. During lockdowns, the lights were usually left on. The only light came from the lobby doors at the far end of the building. Something felt very wrong. JJ stepped out into the hallway and froze. "Who's that?" he whispered. I followed his gaze. A man was walking toward us from the darkness. At first, we couldn't tell if he was a teacher, but as he got closer, we knew immediately he wasn't staff. He was wearing dirty, mismatched clothes and looked nothing like anyone who worked at the school. "Let's go," I said. We turned and ran back down the stairs to the basement. Every classroom door was shut. Lights were off. To avoid making noise, we ducked into the bathroom. I turned the light off instantly. We hid inside the corner stall, holding our breath. The silence was unbearable. No ventilation, no humming lights, nothing. Just our breathing and an occasional drip from the sink. Then, the bathroom door opened. Light flooded in. Footsteps entered. The door closed again, and everything went black. We could hear someone walking slowly toward our side of the bathroom. Then we heard it. Heavy breathing. Loud, slow, intentional. JJ leaned close and whispered, "We have to crawl out through the other stalls." The whisper echoed in the silence. The breathing stopped. Suddenly, the stall door was pushed. That was when I whispered, "Go, now!" We dropped to the floor and crawled under the stall wall, then the next, then the next. Behind us, the man began slamming the stall door violently. We jumped up, sprinted out of the bathroom, and banged on JJ's classroom door with everything we had. The teacher opened it and locked it immediately. JJ explained everything in a panicked voice, saying he had seen a gun sticking out of the man's pocket. Moments later, bang! The classroom door shook. Through the small window, we saw the man standing there, staring inside while twisting the doorknob. After a few angry hits, he turned and walked back toward the stairs. We sat in silence for over an hour. Eventually, we were escorted upstairs and out of the building by police. Cameras were installed all over the school shortly after. The incident never made the news. To this day, I don't know if they ever caught him. But I know one thing. If we hadn't moved when we did, we wouldn't have made it out of that bathroom alive.
I'm a retired New Jersey police officer. In my 20 years on the force, I've responded to robberies, assaults, and violent domestic calls, but nothing disturbed me the way this incident did. It was a dark, stormy afternoon when my radio crackled to life. Dispatch reported a school lockdown at a nearby middle school. A suspicious man had been seen stepping out of a white van parked behind the school and entering through the back door near the boys' locker room. I was the closest unit. When I pulled into the rear parking lot, the white van was still there, engine off, doors locked, no one inside. That alone set off alarms in my head. I approached the red back door that led into the gym hallway. The moment I stepped inside, I knew something was wrong. The main lights were completely off, leaving the school in near total darkness. I unholstered my flashlight with one hand and kept my gun drawn in the other. As I moved through the halls, a woman from the front office quietly stepped out and whispered that the man might be armed. I radioed for backup and was told units were already on the way. The boys' locker room was just ahead. I opened the door slowly. There were no windows inside, no natural light. The only illumination came from my flashlight beam sweeping across rows of lockers. A low, white noise hummed from a ceiling vent, but underneath it, I heard something else. Faint tapping, scratching, metallic dings, like someone lightly striking locker doors. The sounds seemed to move whenever I moved. My heart was pounding, but I forced myself forward. I knew I was supposed to announce myself as police, but fear kept my mouth shut. The tension in that room was unreal. Suddenly, slam! A locker door crashed shut somewhere in the distance. I jumped. The sound came from the football locker room, connected to the main locker area with no separating door. The lockers in there were massive, 3 times the size of normal ones. That's when I finally shouted, "Police!" Almost immediately, I heard a muffled scream. "Help!" The sound was weak, panicked, and coming from somewhere behind the rows of lockers. I followed the noise until I realized the truth. A 12-year-old boy was trapped inside a locker. He was pounding from the inside, crying, barely able to breathe. My stomach dropped. I told him I was a police officer and that I would be right back. I ran outside to secure the area and check the van. It was gone. My biggest mistake was not taking the plate number when I had the chance. I radioed dispatch to put out an alert for a white van and rushed back inside. I instructed the front office to end the school day immediately and send someone with a locker key to free the boy. When they opened the locker, the child collapsed into their arms. He had been cut on the arm. The man had held a knife against his back, trying to force him quietly out of the school and into the van. The boy fought back, and that resistance saved his life. A week later, the white van was spotted in a 7-Eleven parking lot. The suspect was arrested and positively identified. That kid survived, but I still think about how close it was. If that boy hadn't resisted, if the van hadn't been noticed, that locker room would have become a crime scene.
I was staying alone at a Hampton Inn in New Jersey. I had traveled there to visit Rowan University, a college I was thinking about attending. My family couldn't come with me, so for the first time I was completely on my own. After spending the day touring the campus, I grabbed dinner at a nearby restaurant and returned to my hotel room around 8 p.m., planning to head back to campus the next morning. About an hour later, something strange happened. A loud alarm suddenly went off inside my room. At the same time, a bright white light started flashing from a small panel near the ceiling. A recorded message began looping over and over. "All Hampton Inn guests, please remain in your rooms. This is a lockdown." I froze. I had never heard of a lockdown in a hotel before. I didn't even know hotels had alarms like that. At first, I found it more confusing than scary. Eventually, the alarm sound stopped, but the white light kept flashing. and every 20 seconds the message repeated. It was only around 9:30 p.m. I turned on the TV for background noise while I changed clothes and brushed my teeth. When I was done, I shut off the lights and got into bed. I watched TV for about half an hour before turning it off. The flashing light was still there, bright, constant, annoying. I was just about to call the front desk to ask what was going on when the phone rang. It was the front desk. I expected them to explain the alarm. Instead, the woman on the other end spoke in a quiet but urgent voice. "Please remain calm," she said. "I need you to leave your room immediately." Confused, I asked what was happening. Her voice dropped even lower. "There is someone inside your room with you." My heart stopped. I dropped the phone. At first, I didn't believe it. My brain tried to convince me it was a mistake. Still, I started checking everywhere. Under the bed, the bathroom, empty. Then my eyes landed on the closet. It was one of those wooden sliding door closets right next to the bathroom. The door was open just a tiny crack. Through that crack, I saw a face. For a split second, my mind refused to process what I was looking at. Then the closet door slowly slid shut. That's when panic hit. I ran. Barefoot, heart racing, I burst out of the room and sprinted down the hallway to the front desk. Staff members pulled me behind the counter, locked the doors, and called the police. Later, they showed me the security footage. About an hour earlier, a sketchy-looking man had been wandering the hotel hallways, trying door handles. When he reached my room, he somehow opened it using a key card he had illegally obtained. He went inside and stayed there, waiting. The police arrived and arrested him. As they led him in handcuffs, he looked straight at me, like he already knew exactly who I was. That look still haunts me. Thinking about the fact that he was watching me from that closet for over an hour while I changed, brushed my teeth, and lay in bed, that's something I'll never forget.